Song going first. Hello, everybody. Just a moment here as I get my crap together. Good night and good morning and good afternoon and good evening. If you can't tell, I am pretty exhausted tonight with all the flittering around, even getting the show going tonight. You got to see it. Miley, how are you doing tonight? Am I more tired than you for once?
No, I'm ready for bed.
All right, so you've got both your hosts tonight just ready up and ready to go to bed. No, thanks for joining us, everybody. I hope you got a kick out of me, acting like I'd never started a show before as I banged away uselessly at the screen, didn't have anything ready to go. What can I tell you? It's like I can't even blame it on rum. How are you doing tonight, Miley?
Tired,
but beyond that, how was your day? Anything interesting?
No.
Well, what a lead. What's that?
Just a nice 9 to 5.
Yeah, doing the 9 to 5 grind. Well, I've started Tuesday like I'm starting most of my Tuesdays now during spring football down at the Hawks Center. This was one of the lucky Tuesdays where we get down there about 9:30 and then they take us over and let us watch practice, take pictures and video for about 20 or 30 minutes. And then we sit around and write or whatever for about an hour and a half waiting for practice to end and whichever coaches were coming in. I'm going to start doing a little football talk since I'm down there on the same day we do the softball pod. And the two highlights were they had linebackers coach Rob Dvoracek, maybe is how you pronounce his name. I know I can go on the website and have it tell me, but not on a day like today where I'm just going to be out of it and ill-prepared and make a bunch of mistakes with technology. But the other two were Marcus Satterfield, who, if you didn't know, has stuck around in Nebraska, taken the demotion from offensive coordinator and tight ends coach, and he has stuck around to be just the tight ends coach. And I'll admit it, I was as guilty as anybody of going, something's not really working right with the offense. Maybe we should be looking at other options. And then we get Dana Holgerson, and we're all super happy, and we forget about Satterfield, and I remembered something that Matt Rule said.
Tight ends.
What's that?
I knew that he was tight ends.
Yeah, I didn't. I
Oh.
didn't say you didn't. I just said I didn't. I just said some other people may not have been aware that he stuck around. That's all I was saying. So anyway, he did stick around. Well, he stuck around. First of all, it's like normally you're the offensive coordinator, and they bring in another one. You're probably gone, but Coach Rule asked him to stick around as tight ends coach for the rest of the season, and then I guess he asked him, "Would you like to stick around for the coming year?" And he said yes. And I think that's a big deal in a way for the players, because here's players who get demoted left and right. You're starting, you're not, all that. Well, now you got a coach on staff who if he comes up and tells you, "Hey, I know what you're going through," he knows what you're going through. And the reasons he gave for staying were just the really right and honorable ones. He says, I love these kids. I really want to see us through." He was just thrilled to death about getting that winning record, getting to the bowl game to break the 10-year streak, and he wants to be around as long as it keeps improving. I imagine a tight ends coach still makes pretty good money, even if it's not offensive coordinator money. And if not, you like the guys you're coaching and you like the guy you're working for, why not? And then the player who came out to be interviewed after practice was Heinrich Harburg, who pointed out, yeah, man, because now, like, Satterfield was his offensive coordinator when he was the starting quarterback. Now he's his position coach as he has transitioned to tight end. And listening to Harburg talk about Satterfield, he couldn't be more thrilled. You couldn't hide the fact how much he loves this guy. Is very aware that they're kind of going through the same thing, and just really digs being able to be coached by him at his new position, which he talked about in depth, and I'll probably write about that a little more in the next few days. But it was just a real neat dynamic to have. And when you see a guy like Satterfield, who everybody's been blasting, and it doesn't suddenly make him a great offensive coordinator again, but I guess I just suggest everybody, from all appearances, this is a really good dude who really believes in these guys, and maybe we should be glad he stuck around. So anyway, with that, let's get to softball. What a great start to the weekend, and then Sunday happens.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel as you were watching the bottom of the third inning there?
On Sunday?
Yeah.
I didn't watch Sunday.
Oh, you didn't watch it?
No, I was watching UConn.
What's that?
I was watching UConn.
Okay, you got bleeped out again. Third time and last. You were watching what?
UConn.
You were watching the women's championship.
Yeah.
And this is another reason for Iowa fans to lose their shit, because they're just such incredible nimrods. Caitlin Clark fans, is all you have to do is go on Twitter or TikTok or anywhere. You don't even have to bring her up. If they bring up, "Hey, here's my video tribute to Paige Beckers," then what you're going to get, and you can just tick it down from about 10 seconds, is here'll come some Iowa fan, or I guess Indiana Fever fan, but it just leaping in there. Well, everyone knows Caitlin Clark is better. It's like, it's not just enough that people have to, which is not true at all, but they're supposed to just admit she's already the best player in the WNBA. She's not. If they don't admit that, these people just lose their minds. If Angel Reese is involved, then you get the whole other ugly side of Iowa. If I could, I could probably get an abacus to count the number of times you get the "I bet she doesn't even know who her dad is" comment. Just the ultimate racist dog whistle crap. But now Beckers is starting to get it, because here she was, fan favorite. It's hard not to love Paige. Real funny. I saw somebody did a video goes about her and Gina Oriema. It said, "These two were hilarious from the first year." And here's a clip of her in front of the UConn bench while Gino's turned around talking to the players on the bench, and she hits a three, takes off up court, sees Gino kind of, hands on knees, and just thwacks him one in the ass and takes off. You just see Gino turn around and go like, and everybody loves her, and the Caitlin Clark fans who think that no one really watches her play when she just brats out, just screams F-bombs at refs, freaks out every time she doesn't get a call, throws herself to the floor, is the only player I can remember whose dad stood up in the middle of an NCAA tournament game and told her to shut up.
Yeah.
Because she's screaming about the reffing, and in a first round game they're winning by 25.
Well, people are people already bitching. And they're showing like, views from last year's
Yeah.
and then this year, and how it's
that's all they had. And then then the responses were just great because they came in and said, "Yeah, the Caitlin Clark effect." It's like, well, the Paige Beckers and Angel Reese effect was they won a national title and she didn't.
Yeah.
Those were the comps. Yeah, but yeah, Paige won it. It's like doesn't matter how many. So somebody went. So 10 million people saw you lose the final for the second year in a row. Just stuff like that. But yeah, congrats to Paige and Gino. Because when Gino first came up, little John Cook comparison there actually, because Gino was kind of stodgy and coach kind of pissed off and didn't really seem to be enjoying what he was doing. Just like losing just made him furious, even though it seldom happened. And then later in their careers, they both kind of have this change of heart. They're all of a sudden they're fun to be around. The kids enjoy playing for them. And there was even they were showing one clip of I think their locker room or maybe one of their workout rooms at UConn, and it was almost Ted Lasso-ish here. It's all this stuff on the wall, and the bottom one in big letters: "Have fun." The top level NCAA D1 basketball, and they're going for titles. It'd been a while since Gino had one, hadn't it?
2016.
26, yeah. So 9 years, and that might have been the longest he ever went without one. Because there was a stretch where it felt like he was winning them every year, kind of after the Pat Summitt era at Tennessee. Is like then Gino came in, and here's just a quick thing about how pissy he would get for no reason. There's still a lot of disparity in the women's tournament between, say, a 1 seed and a 16 seed. Well, picture that like in the 90s or whenever Gino started. They'd win these round one games like 114-38 or something. So and the I don't know if they still do it, but back then the higher seed, the number 1 seed would host the region, the first round, or each of the regionals would be hosted by the highest seed.
They still do that.
They still do that. Well, Gino started getting pissy because the stands weren't full for these just boring beatdowns, and you got to support a team every game. You never know when. And students kind of clap back at him and were like, "Hey, screw you! Then let's get these games more competitive." Some of why should we waste our afternoon on a game that's going to be over at the opening tip-off? But like I said, he's flipped his attitude, and I just look forward to those. I'm going to miss the press conferences where he'd be talking about Paige and how she'd drive him nuts and stuff like that. But congrats to those guys. We won't talk women's basketball, and we will get to softball now. Anyway, so we were talking about Iowa. First night, they play in the rain, and I don't think would have happened necessarily on a team with a regional approved field. Iowa is all artificial turf, and so they had to go order however many reams of shit brown field turf for their infield, their batters boxes, and their warning track. And there's just something gross about it. I get it. You can hardly tell it from the dirt from a distance, but when you're down there, it's just kind of ick. And I don't know why, other than brown turf. It just seems gross. But yeah, that was the thing last year where they hosted the Big Ten tournament, didn't make it because they were one of the 2 lousiest teams, Iowa. And but the thing is, the rest of the conference was kind of up in arms about that, going, why are you giving them a Big Ten tournament hosting job with the field that wouldn't conform to the regionals? Because here's the thing: there's still little danger of that. I guess they're still hanging in the 40s in RPI, so this might be the year. But winning a regional, no, there's no near danger of that in the near future. Any danger of that? But if they hosted the regional, they'd have to give it up to another team because their field's not in compliance. So anyway, well, I'm just thinking of things to be mad about because I hate losing to Iowa, and we did it on Sunday. We went in the rain 12-0 on Monday, and Jalen Adams, I think their ace pitcher was just. I'm not thinking she had a bad night. I'm thinking maybe she just didn't really have a way to keep the ball dry in her hand. She got bounced after an inning and a third, and walked 6 batters, walked 5 batters in the second inning with 1 out, or only getting 1 out, and then was done for the ninth. The next day, once you get by her, the staff was not strong, so we pummeled them the rest of Friday night. Beat their number 2 starter 14-1 on Saturday. Then she comes in on Sunday and looks pretty good. Gave up 8 hits, maybe a walk. So she got some runners on base, but got out of the jams. And then there was our jam. And we scored 2 runs in the top of the third, go up 2-0, and it's starting to feel like here we go. But then with runners on second and third, Jalen Adams strikes out. I think it was Ava Cusack and or Hannah Kamenson maybe, because I think Hannah struck out a couple of times. And I don't think they'd moved Ava. No, that was the third game. Ava was down, so it wasn't her. In any case, she strikes out a pair, gets out of there, and both of we hit 2 doubles in that inning where we got the 2 runs. 2 of those shots, Jordy's hits the top of the fence, comes back in, and the other one hits the top of the fence, according to Nate Rohr. I couldn't see it that well on TV, but according to Nate on the radio, it just missed going out by less than a foot. So we came out of that inning with a 2-0 lead that should have been more. And when they got out of it, I think it was even Nate saying on radio, you can feel the momentum swing a little to Iowa, and then it swung a lot. Jordy is cruising at this point. She walked the first batter, got the next 8 straight, 5 strikeouts, and she struck out the first 2 that inning. Then it was like gave up a hit. I think walked somebody, hit. Somebody got on by error, and all of a sudden the bases are loaded. They get one in, they get another in. There's another hit, and all of a sudden they're just dinging her. She can't get out of it. And then here they have 3 across the plate, runners on first and second. Hits a batter, loads them up. Hits another batter, 1 in. Hits another batter, 5-0. And Rhonda, even in her word, except for really horrible innings, and now there's 2 of those this year, Rhonda gives Jordy every chance on earth to get out of it, knowing that even a struggling Jordy's probably better than anyone else on the staff. Not Sunday. And so she comes out and pulls her. And Kylie McGee comes in. And I don't know if this was just Iowa weekend, or because we talked about Kylie last weekend and how she got roughed around. Well, the reward for that was she got the start on Saturday. And I'm like, well, is something wrong with Hannah Kamenson's pitching arm where she can still play like Emerson Cope at the end of the year last year? No, Kylie, to her credit, she did okay in the start. She only gave up 1 hit in 3 innings. She walked forward. She walked the base. Yeah. She walked the leadoff hitter 2 innings. She walked the bases loaded again, but she got out of it. And I didn't even necessarily think that was the stunning performance we were looking for, but at least it wasn't, like she didn't get pulled. She didn't get lifted for bad performance. She just pulled her after a solid 3 and then brought in Hannah for 2. And maybe that was the plan, just pitch them both. Hannah comes in, only gives up 1 hit, strikes out a couple.
Sure, who's good for more than 3 innings?
What's that?
Don't you want a pitcher who's good for more than 3 innings?
Yeah, but maybe she just said, let's call this good. Not try to ever go the distance, and you've got your actual number 2 pitcher who's fresh. So I don't know. Well, then when Jordy gets in trouble, I would think, okay, here comes Hannah. Oh, here comes Kylie. Now she got out of it, and she pitched. I think she pitched 2 1/3. Struck out a couple. Only walked 1, or maybe he gave up a hit, didn't walk any. Easily her best relief performance of the year. But then let's see, came in. I was right. That was Sunday. Yeah, best relief performance of the year. So not a bad weekend for her. But I still can't get with how well Hannah had been pitching that she's bounced down. And I'm just wondering, I know that for some reason you want to give McGee every chance in the world, but when you're starting to bounce your successful pitcher out of the way for her, and what's the message you're sending Hannah Kamenson? I don't know. I just kind of want to let the year play out, or maybe later in the year we'll see where we are, and then if I can get a few minutes with Rhonda, maybe just ask her about that and do my best. I try so hard not to sound like a dick when I talk about this, but it's frustrating. I've seen Kylie McGee interviewed a couple times. Seems like a really nice gal. I've got no beef with her. I just kind of have a beef with what the numbers are and the chances she's getting. And I'll say this weekend, not so bad. Hats off to her. Anyway, let's look where we stand now. So that brought us to 28-10 on the year. Again, we should be right now. We could be tied for first right now, but this is the second weekend in a row we can't complete a sweep against an outmatched opponent. And then the hit, and it's not all on the pitching. Here's the hit, the hitting, both 4 runs in those 2 games from a team that hits 352 and averages probably 7-8 runs a game. So when it goes a little south on the mound, in those games, the hitting's not coming back to support them. And that had really kind of been the key to the hitting this year, is we're not just Jordy ball and let's see if we can get 2 or 3 runs and win. It's like we've got one of the best hitting teams in the country. So I don't know. So this weekend, we'll get to Northwestern in a minute. But right now, like, we're 8-3. We're tied for 4th, and we're 2 games out of 1st. There's a 3-way tie with Northwestern, Oregon, and UCLA. The big difference there is Northwestern hadn't really played anyone in the conference yet, and they've even though they're 9-1 in conference, they're below us in RPI. So we'll get to that. Here's where the Huskers stand now. They went down in the ESPN USA softball poll from like 20th or 21st to 23rd. They stayed about where they were out of the rankings in the D1 softball poll, dropped a little. They're number 28, and they're, the group, the group outside the top 25 getting votes. They dropped in the Softball America poll. The Softball America poll, which you find on On3, if you subscribe to that, they went from just out at 26th, then moved up to 25th. So they're back in the top 25 there. And the USA Today NFCA poll, they dropped a spot from 20th to 21st. So now they're in the top 25 in 3 polls. Their RPI, the problem with losing that Sunday game is you're back in the 20s if you win that, but they didn't. So they went from, we were number 34, and it included the loss, and then today we're at 33. So for beating Iowa 2 out of 3, it's basically a push. Our strength of schedule is 56. That's kind of where it's been hovering in the 50s, I think, most of the season. So not much change there. In the Big Ten, you're not going to get a lot of jump in RPI unless you play Washington, Oregon, and UCLA, the old Pac-12 teams. And only one we play is Washington, and they're the lowest of the 3. We won't see UCLA or Oregon unless we meet them in the tournament. Let's talk about who was hot and who wasn't. There were a lot of gals that didn't have that great a weekend for a team that threw up 28 runs in 3 games. Abby Squire is just in a horrid slump right now. I think she's about 0 for her last 12 or 13. She was 0 for 2. They gave her a couple of swigs on Sunday, and maybe in retrospect, maybe shouldn't have. But as hot as she was earlier, you've got to keep putting her back in there and giving her a chance. We've had a lot of slumpers, and everybody has turned around to make it right. Tell you what, before you dive into this, I see some comments on the board. Let us check those. I always beg everybody to get in the comments. Oh God, Fred's here. Let's we'll get there. Let's see. Oh yeah, come on, put it up. Oh, Connor's isn't coming up. Con, shut. Okay, Nebraska has the only crown championship, so I'd argue they're the greatest basketball program of all time. I saw some really funny tweets on that yesterday. There was one that had a bubble that had number of Power 5 teams with an NCAA tournament win, and here's all. And then on the other one, number of Power 5 teams to win the crown. Just the big red N. And somebody else said, "Well, that's it. Tonight's game, the winner of Florida Houston versus Nebraska." Crown champion versus NCAA champion. Let's find out for real who's the best. Just stuff like that.
John's tweet was my favorite.
What's that?
John's tweet was my favorite.
What did he say? I forgot that one.
He tweeted on Cone Nation. He said, "I will build to this."
Oh yeah, John. Yeah. John's like, I did a couple more of those because the guys who've still decided to be furious about that keep diving in. You wanted to make them a club team. I don't think John did. I think, if I remember John's point that really seemed to set people off at first, was that, I don't think enough people are putting in the money we'll need. You got the people that just go to the games but won't donate. Then people flipped out. Buying a season ticket and going is enough support. I don't have to, because that's what really seemed to set some people off. And then everybody was like,
well, when you buy a season ticket, you donate.
What's that? Yeah.
You have to donate a seat, you have to donate when you buy a seat.
Right.
it's for football, volleyball, all the sports.
Mhm.
So if you're buying season tickets, you're donating.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing. It's like if you got a ticket, so maybe it's the people who just go and buy the singles when they can.
Yeah.
But and then I think it was like Jim from Minnesota that was saying, let's just make him a club team. And maybe John jumped in. Well, should we just give up on him if we're not going to give them the money they need? Give up on him and make him a club. So everybody's like, John wants to make us a club team, and John's thing is he loves to start the argument, and I disagree with him on this. And because like he kind of goes with what Troy Dannon said, that people are going to get donation fatigue. I'm like, boosters have been chipping in for 100 years. It's like they're not going to suddenly decide not to, and it's time to, really triple down. So I just thought it was more of a conversation starter. But God, the fury that's come out of that, I'm like, of all the things we say, this is the one that pisses you off. But anyway, so I was even doing a little of that. I was like, well, you wanted to make us a club team, and so I just played John, and I'm like, I feel like we inspired this. we gave them the will to bring this home, and so that was just making them even madder. Anyway, let's see what else we got. We had Connor. Yeah, Connor show. You have to like double click that. Lots of teams have won natties, but only one team has won the crown. And one of our guys, Nate, goes, well, here's the thing. This is the first time Nebraska football and Nebraska basketball have ended the season with a win. And somebody pointed out, yeah, but in basketball, there's really only two shots at that. You have to either win the NCAA tournament or the NIT. So yeah. I don't know if there's a lot of teams that finish with the win. I guess Florida, if they won bowl games the year they won it back-to-back, back when they had Yannick Noah, maybe that year they did a back-to-back finish with wins. But I don't know. Let's see what else we got here. Pitt said, ew, I came in at a weird time. Wonder what we were just saying there.
Oh, we're talking about how Paige hit Gino's butt.
Oh, yeah. That's not that weird. Just letting Gino know she got her done. And then Fred, who's joined us tonight, was like, Pitt, that's what she said. Let's see. Oh, God, now what are they talking about? Pitt's night. So, Sack, if she's so good that you hang a banner in the boudoir, does she take it as a compliment? Jeez. Oh, Pitt, yeah. Andy, I got nothing to add to y'all's softball commentary, just listening and distracted tonight. Fire away, we'll jump in there. I check those regularly. Yeah, Beetlebee said Miley's got a little tinny sound coming out of her microphone. I
don't know what to do.
Did you? The only thing I'd say is try just like hopping in and out of the studio.
I guess I can try that.
Yeah, try. That's how I got mine to stop doing that in the fall. Yeah, pop in and out. All right, now let's make fun of her while she's gone. That's too easy. And then all I'm gonna do is I'll have my lovely daughter just flipping birds at the camera. So we'll see if the old ways work. Thanks, Beetlebee. Pop Miley back on the stage here. Say something.
No. Yep. See, it's selecting.
Yeah, it's like when you talk, it's almost like there's you're catching like airplane chatter or something up there.
Maybe it's the TV in the other room.
Yeah, could be. I don't know. It's not awful. And usually, like when you start, it's when I'm talking, so I just got to stop quick and ask you to repeat it, and then it's usually fine. Has anyone done a wellness check on John lately? Yes, I've been in contact with John regularly. He's fine. Yeah, well, like Miley said, he was starting to get sassy again on Twitter in his voice. Connor, yeah, the Florida stuff. The only thing is, I hate Florida, but yeah, recognize Al Horford. I think I said the Yannick Noah team, but it was definitely both of them. Yeah, bet I came in and you said, bet she doesn't know her dad. That's just awful. I was reflecting. This is what you get from Iowa tweeters and TikTok commenters and Caitlin Clark fans. Anytime someone mentions Angel Reese, somebody's going to do a dog whistle deal like that. So that wasn't me saying it. That was repeating that this is what Iowa considers humor when it comes to ripping on Angel Reese, which they just can't help but do every waking minute of their lives because, well, Angel Reese has an NCAA title and an NCAA final MVP, two things that Caitlin didn't have after two tries. So suck it, Iowa. What do we have here? Yeah, there you go. Miley's in Memorial Stadium on the PA. Hey, those were the Beetle suggests if you can get the mic closer to you, is it just your laptop?
It's just the computer.
Yeah.
Unless you want my face.
Yeah, I'll just be saying, hey, can you repeat that a lot? Florida. Oh, here you go. Florida for preventing the Ohio State from a natty. Yeah, I'd rather have Ohio State win a natty. Florida sucks. Oh, okay. Pitt Snipe didn't think I was being awful. Thank you. I just wanted to make real sure there in case anybody else thought that. All right, let's hop off comments for a bit here. And where went my damn background again? I have a nice soft. There we go. I mean, you only get to see a foul line, but I have a nice softball field background. What are you doing over there?
Mocking you.
Oh, suck it. Okay, let's get to, all right, the hot and nuts. And we talked about Abby. Hannah Camenzind 0 for 7, but she did have 4 walks, so her on base was still 364. Not bad. Ava slumped a little. You didn't notice it because I think she had she had a homer. She went 2 for 9, but had a homer and 2 RBIs, so she got one out. Casey Hoffman also went 2 for 9, but she had a double and 2 RBIs, so they contributed, just not their usual, what they've been doing. All right, what's the comment? I see you smirking. Oh, okay, it's all good, Miley. We'll stop bitching now. We can keep bitching. We'll just pop them up after another segment here. And then Ava Breadwell, who'd been red hot for a while, 0 for 7. Ouch. But she'd been on a killer run. Now, Jordy now has started playing some left field, and then she's stuck at leadoff. And even that, I talked last week. Hey, she just went 2 for 8 for the weekend. Except she had 3 balls caught at the warning track, so she was about 8 feet from a 5 for 8 with 3 homer weekend. So I don't think they were too worried she was actually slumping. She goes 5 for 9, has a grand slam in the first game. So homer, 5 RBIs, 2 doubles. Let's say 5 RBIs, 5 runs scored, stole a base. So she probably should have been at leadoff all along, even when Ava was hot, just because she's got the power and adds more speed there. Olivia DiNardo stayed hot. Didn't play on Sunday for some reason. And I know it feels like I question everything Rhonda does. I don't. I think Rhonda's a wonderful coach. But when you've got the hottest bat on the team, which she'd been, because the week before she beats UNO, she keeps it going all through the weekend. Well, she plays 2 games, goes 4 for 6, 3 doubles, 3 RBIs and a run, and then day off on Sunday. I'm like, well, why don't you just keep her in every day till she cools off a little?
Because she doesn't really run. She has people run for her all the time. Not all the time.
Not all the time. Yeah, she's not
all the time. When they really need someone speed there, they have someone run for her.
Well, but the thing is, with the re-entry rule and the speed they've got on the bench, to me, that's a non-issue. Just get Kennedy Williams and get Caitlin Kaneda up there and rock and roll. Let's see who am I looking at here. Sammy Bland, my God. she after the first game, they move her to number 2 in the order, and she has the 3 homer game. So for the weekend, she was 5 for 8. She also took 2 walks, so that made her 7 for 10 with a 700 on base percentage for the weekend. A double, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, and 7 runs scored. See, Rhonda Revelle. Sammy Bland to the 2 spot. Way to go. Nice instincts there. Well, and another thing I point out about Rhonda is I don't know that I've ever seen somebody just in any sport murder the transfer portal like she has this year. The only one who hasn't just come in and gotten a starting job or a rotation job and absolutely killed it is McGee. But other than that, you got Ava Cusack. You got Hannah and Laura Camenzind.
Olivia.
You got Casey. Huh?
Olivia.
Yeah, Olivia DiNardo, Casey Hoffman. It's like, holy shit. That is, we were worried about their hitting this year. Hey, will they be able to replace Billy Andrews, replace some big bats last year? They have not just replaced them, they have blown the hell by them. I mean, that was, and these gals did not come rolling in with numbers that they're old schools like they're putting up here. I think, DiNardo had shown a little more power, good batting average. She was the one where I'm like, okay, she'll come in and hit. Casey Hoffman, I'm like, a little something there, but not hitting 350 or anything. And they're all just like blam, murder. murder, death, kill. They are beating the hell out of the softball. Hannah's become our solid number 2 starter. And Jordy was a transfer the year before, so both our number 1 and 2 starters are transfers. The infield, I think the infield's basically transfers. A couple of them going back to last year. It's Bella and Jordy at first, transfers 24. Laura, Ava, and then the outfield. Casey's the transfer in right. Hannah's she's in center when she's not pitching. And then you have usually then Olivia and Ava will kind of take turns going into the DP spot. They want Ava on the field. You'll see Ava, I think, all 3 games this weekend because Northwestern is a very fast team, and Ava's got the cannon behind the plate, so they'll probably want to see that. And then Laura Kamenson, 4 for 7, double, a homer, 4 RBIs, 4 runs scored. She'd been in a little mini slump, banged her way out of that. Bella Bacon, 4 for 7, double, homer, 5 RBIs, and 4 runs over 3 games. So, holy cow! Sammy, Bella, and Laura. My God, And then I'll throw Jordy in there because she had the 5 RBIs. Oh, and 5 runs scored. I didn't even see those. So that's the 4 of them just killing it. Jordy now it's a little misleading because she got it. Her ERA took a break because they had it after she struck out 2 in that 3rd inning, and then had somebody get a hit. The next person got on by an error, and so all of that. So all the runs were unearned because they were all scored after the error. So she comes out of there with 7 2/3 innings pitched, 5 runs allowed, none earned. She struck out 13 in the 7 2/3 innings, walked 4, gave up 6 hits. So a 1.304 WHIP isn't that bad. The walks and hits divided by innings pitched. 1.304, that's okay, but it's not okay for her. I think hers was like 07 something going in. It was like 780. So that's a big jump for her. And then she hit 4 batters, 3 of those 3 in a row, and then she hit a batter, I think, on Friday. So I'm going to think it's just another one-off weird thing that happened instead of something actually wrong, because look at Jalen Adams on Friday night for Iowa. Gone. It was almost like they just flipped their starts because she walked 5 people, gets bounced out after an inning and a third. Jordy walks 2, hits 3, so allows 5, gives basically 5 batters a free pass, and then she's bounced after 2 2/3, and just after cruising till that point too. So who knows? Let's compare. I thought just for fun we'd compare our hitting numbers as a team with Northwestern's. They have 25 homers and 53 steals, so a little more power than some of the teams we've been playing, but still not what you'd call a power team. But 53 steals, they're going to run, and they're probably going to try and test Breadwell. We have 76 homers and 27 steals, so we're just the flip side of that. And if you're hitting 70 home runs, you really don't need to be running a ton. Their team batting average is 288. Our team batting average is 352. Their on base percentage is 379, pretty good. Our on base is 426, and then another stat I love, it's called OPS, and it's on base percentage plus slugging. So it just gives you an idea of combining, okay, let's say you got runners getting on a ton. Are you getting any extra base hits, that sort of thing? Are you hitting the ball out? Are you getting your doubles and triples? Because then otherwise you might have an on base of like 370, but you're going to have a low slugging. And I said any player whose OPS is over 1, that player's like killing it. That means they are hitting for average and they are hitting for power. Not Northwestern. They're like I said, their on base is 379. Their OPS is 833. Not bad for a team. 833 is a pretty high OPS. Nebraska's is 1.072. Any individual with 1.072 is banging it at the plate. This is just the team crushing the ball. So we should have the hitting advantage on Northwestern. Right now they are 20-12-1, and I believe. Tell me if this sounds right. I forgot to write it down. I believe they've won the Big Ten regular season title for 3 straight years. I didn't know if that rang a bell.
This is only my second year covering softball, so
fair enough. They beat Duke, but other than that, and then they won in a 3-game set with Mississippi State. They won 2, lost 1, or won 1, lost 2. But they're kind of like Iowa. Every ranked team, except for the upset of Duke, every ranked team has beaten them and beaten them badly. The 2 Mississippi State, huh?
I think they beat Duke.
Yeah, that you know how you think that is because I just said it twice.
Oh, I told you.
Yeah, like, where did you hear that, Miley? My God, what a nugget. She's gonna fall asleep. She's gonna fall asleep with her middle finger in the air at me. But no, every other ranked team they played, it's like Iowa. They've just been smoked. They've been run ruled. But they are 9-1, tied for first in the Big Ten, and it's because they haven't played anybody very good in the Big Ten. And so we're going to be the best team they've played in conference by far. So this is our chance to really jump on them, have a chance for a sweep. The sweep's doable. I really think. I just hope we don't start playing games with the staff again. But 2 of 3 we should win. A sweep would be great. And sometimes it's harder than you think when you're us that are, would like to be that team that wins a Big Ten title but haven't done it in the regular season. This is the team you got to beat to get over that hump. And it might be in their heads a little. We just Northwestern. I think they came down here last year, and I can't remember if we got them 2 out of 3 or if they nicked us 2 out of 3. I think they might have gotten us 2 out of 3 last year. So just weren't quite ready to take that mantle from them. They've got here's what they got. They've got a pitcher, Lauren Boyd, very solid, 8-2 with a 2.58 ERA. Has given up 57 hits in 65 innings. Very nice walk strikeout ratio. Struck out 64, only walked 19. Has a 117 WHIP. Pretty good. You'll very likely see her on Friday and Sunday because the rest of the staff is not good. I didn't want to say trash, but I think the lowest, all their whips are over 170. The rest of that staff will put runners on base, put them on often, and if you do that against us, we're gonna run them up. We're gonna run it up on you. 3 interesting hitters. I didn't just take the top 3 in batting average. Here's their number 1 in batting average. Her name's Kaylee Evanston. She's hitting 383. Her on base is 437. Not much power, 2 homers, but she is 18. She's stolen 18 bases in 20 tries and scored 22 runs. And then the reason I have the other 2 is they're not necessarily like your top batting average girls, but they are tops in 2 things. Kelly Nader hits 340, 43 points, lower than Kaylee Evanston, but her on-base percentage is 471, about 35 points higher. She has a better eye. She takes more walks. She gets on base. Anybody that's watched Moneyball knows there's the great scene where Brad Pitt's, he's playing Billy Beane, the general manager of the A's, and they're trying to decide who to sign. And he's naming these guys. They're going, this guy stinks. He's hitting 250. And it's like that he keeps going, and he keeps going with his new assistant GM going, but what does he do, Pete? And he's like, me, yeah. When I point at you, I want you to talk. And he's like, he gets on base. And they're like, oh, okay. And then, well, what do you want this bum? They keep going down the list. What do you want this bum for? Pete, he gets on base. And he's like, then he finally is getting tired of him at the end. And he's like, and this guy, yeah, he's a little beat up. He can't play catcher anymore. But what does he do? Guys, don't make me point at Pete again. And then they all go, he gets on base. This girl, Kelsey Nader, gets on base, hitting 340, on base 471. She's stolen 8 out of 10 bags. But she's also the team leader in runs scored with 27. And then you get Bridget Donahue, who's only hitting, only 291's not bad.
Are you going to go through the whole roster?
3 people. I even said before I did it, once again, pay attention a little bit. 3 people. But she's hitting 291, but on-base percentage 448, still higher than their best batting average. 23 runs scored, second on the team. That's one thing. We got a few, and Rhonda really is into that. You can tell by the way she sets her lineup. She kind of moneyballs it. But we've got a few that need to get a little better eyes, start taking a few more walks. I'm not going to call them out by name. You can look it up. But there's a few that I think wouldn't slump as much if they hung in there for better pitching. All right, what are you sniggering about now?
Nothing. I was just laughing at you.
Oh, okay, that's fair. I can deal with that.
Okay, good.
But anyway, and then it might sound like I'm getting on a roll. Nah, we're about done here.
Oh.
So let me give you. Don't do that. Don't go over there. Thank God. Ass. But so here's my like 15-second review of Creighton.
Oh, good. It's not
okay. That doesn't count since you interrupted. They're 15-19, 5-7, tied for 7th in the Big East, which is an absolute garbage softball conference. Their RPI is 197 out of 309. They are a quad 4 team. That's the lowest quadrant, the bottom 159 teams in the country. Their strength of schedule is 201. So they're 15-19 against one of the worst schedules in the country.
Yeah, exactly.
Conclusion: if we lose to Creighton, it is an absolute disaster, and there'd just be no way to do it. That should be a game over in 5 innings game. There. All right, let's see. Last comments, and then we'll get her done. Only a few more. Yeah, I wasn't the only one watching Miley yawn.
Oh, shut up.
It's night. Yawn again, Miley. I think I saw a tapeworm.
I said I was tired.
That's pretty good. Then what do we have here? Oh, I'm listening to making my first roast ever, pan-searing crock pot full of 50-50 chillable red wine plus chipotles and onions. I can do this. There's one thing, there's 2 things that Pitt likes, it's food and booze. And then, and other stuff, and then other like mind-altering chemicals beyond just booze. But let's just say Pitt lives a good and full life, and we appreciate him for it. And he also remembers one of the best lines. Well, the one thing about Moneyball was you just had all these old scouts who just pretended they knew things. Oh, I can tell him, and they're making comments. They're making comments about him, going, well, he's got so much confidence that when he walks into a room, his dick's already been there for a minute. And then the other one, they're like, well, this guy, I'm only giving him a 6. He's got no confidence. Why do you say that? He's got an ugly girlfriend. That was the scout going, we don't want this guy because a guy with confidence would have a better looking girlfriend. But it was really weird. The book came out in like 2002 or something like that, the early 2000s. But that's when Billy Beane started to change the way we look at baseball, which has now come into softball, because last year you had Billie Andrews leading off all the time, and she's she leads the team in homers. She has the most powerful swing. Usually those guys, cleanup hitter, hit them 4th. The easy answer from Moneyball is, if this is literally your best hitter, who cares if they're little quick guys or home run hitters? Bat them in the order first so they come up to bat more than anybody else. The year the Braves won the series in 21, they let off a big, muscular, slow guy, Jorge Soler, who hit like 48 homers 2 years before. Got on base all the time. Braves leadoff hitter. He may not ever steal. He's slow, won't ever steal a base. But our leadoff hitter is just the guy who gets on base. And there you go. Your Moneyball lesson of the night from a 20-year-old book, but a pretty good movie from about 10 years ago with Brad Pitt. You enjoy it even if you're not a baseball fan, because it's just a fun movie. Chris Pratt's in it.
Oh, thank God.
Plays the catcher who who can't catch anymore because his elbow's shot. But they actually did it. It showed in the book how he was just flat out one of the 4 or 5 best hitters in the league when he threw his on base percentage in there, because he was just getting on base, scoring more runs than anybody, and just waited forever. He would not swing a bat until you threw him a great pitch to hit. But yeah, it was funny because the other coaches were like, you can't teach a guy to play first base, and Brad Pitt's like, who cares if he can play? Just, we need him in the lineup.
He's on the movie right now.
No, but then Brad Pitt goes, it says like, because Pratt's going, well, I'll be over there screwing up. What'll the fans think? And the assistant coach goes, yeah, maybe I can teach one of them to play first. And Brad Pitt's like, haha, very funny.
Andy.
But anyway, there you go.
We're done with the movies.
We are?
Yes. Because you'll go on the rest of the night.
Connor says, Jorge Soler, Royals legend. And what's this? Pitt site. My baseball scouting report. He's homely, but his girlfriend's a smoke show. He hits 350 plus, and you don't steal on him. Huge mouth. Either use it or move on. And with those words is what Miley's thinking. Dad, shut up. Let's go to bed. So, hey, thanks once again for everybody tuned in. We'll be in next week, hopefully talking about a four-game 4-0 week and a jump up in the standings and a jump into the 20s. and hopefully can somehow make that run to the top 16 and host a regional. Miley, what do we say?
GBR.
GBR. Everybody sleep as well as Miley will tonight, or what they say at I'm just gonna bug you with the movies. Princess Bride. sleep well and dream of large women, everyone. Go Big Red and good evening.
Interesting.